Yes, you've got it rough, but please stop running. You know I've had enough, so thanks for nothing. And when you went away, you should have told me where you were going. You got a lot of love, but I still love you. I know that I was right the day I met you. I'm never gonna leave or forget you. You carry yourself like the princess in the castle. For better or worse, you're worth the hassle.
Good evening and welcome to IITW Radio. I'm Travis and you are
Tammy.
Maybe. Or are
I
you
don't
really?
know. Tonight I think maybe not.
Tonight we got a really good show lined up for you. We're going to start off with Kelly Vaughn. That was his music you were listening to, For Better or Worse. And Kelly, how are you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm good. Thank you guys for having me on your show. I really appreciate it.
No problem. I love the setup you got with your guitars back there.
Yeah, I just did that actually a few months ago. I thought you should have seen what it looked like in here before. It was just a mountain of recording gear, and it was just wires everywhere. And I thought, you know, I'm going to make it look cool in here. So I hung up all these guitars, and it looks pretty cool.
It looks great.
I like it.
Yeah, that was your song, For Better or Worse. It's a great song. I was telling these guys, and I was telling you before we went on the air, I was listening to your music when I was traveling up to Louisiana. I had a 12-hour drive and had yours and a couple other artists that we feature on here. We've been featuring you for, I don't know, a few months now.
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Seems like every week you're in the top 10. You got a lot of people voting for you. But I can see why, because your music is kick butt, man.
Oh, thank you so much. That song, Better for Worse, is about my wife, and whenever I do one of these interviews or a show and I make jokes about my wife, if I don't clarify that, she will kill me. But yes, she does drive me crazy, but in all fairness, I drive her crazy. And so that's kind of what that song is about, is even though we drive each other crazy, you want to find that one person that you can stick with.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about.
Is she standing right there?
No.
Oh, okay.
She's at home. She's at home, hopefully watching.
Yeah, for all you ladies out there that were interested and asked, that's the first question they usually ask when it pops up on our screen. Is he married? Yes, he is. Off limits. So I'm sure your wife will like to hear that you're giving her props.
Yeah, she will love that.
We get a lot of artists on here that, you know, act like they're not married, and then, you know, then I hear from their wives, why didn't you say he was married? You know? I don't know. Call and ask him.
My wife she's actually a musician too, and she's a great singer. And she, she sings a lot with the band, and we do, you know, all kinds of gigs and things together. So
yeah, so
That's
you're
nice.
out in Dallas.
mm-hmm.
That's a hard market.
It is, you know. And they say Austin is the place to be, but I can't really speak to that. I mean, I see the bands they have there, and I know a lot about the venues there, but it's a tough racket here in Dallas, I can tell you that.
Dallas is a big city.
It is. I think we have like 7 million people in the DFW, and there's a lot of places to play and a lot of things to do, and but I do think it's hard for an artist that plays original music here. I'm not going to lie about that. I don't think that the system here is set up to foster that kind of thing, which I think is sad.
I think it was 82 or 83. I went out to Dallas with the band I was in. We went out there for Battle of the Bands. It was a big deal. They still have that going on out there? Or?
I mean, there's all kinds of contests and different things here, and there's so many. So we have little pockets of areas where we have little music scenes that are kind of like we have what's called Deep Ellum. That's a special scene. We have a scene in Addison, Texas, and they're all a little bit different. Some of them are just cover bands. Some of them are more alternative rock area. But there's predominantly here it's cover bands, and the only really original bands that play around here, for the most part, are like playing at the big venues that are coming through, you know, with their summer concerts. So I'm still playing originals, but I'm not going to say it's easy. I still have to play ball a little bit, and I've got to play a few covers. And a funny thing happened a couple months ago. There was a new club that opened up here called Six Springs Live, a great place, and they only have original music. And so I really wanted to play there, and I got a gig there, and the owner asked me if I could think of another band, you know, a friend of mine or somebody that could come and also do the show with us. And I literally could not think of one band I knew that could play enough originals to do a whole night. And I thought, wow, that is really sad. You know, it's just not the way that I wanted to see things. But I did it anyway, and it was great. And I'm just rolling on with it.
Yeah, you play a lot of, I see you play, you know, contemporary artists and stuff like that, and then you can play some gospel and Christian stuff and stuff like that. When you got started, it said in your bio you traded a Walkman and a members-only jacket for a drum set.
For a drum set, yeah, that I didn't know how to play. It was the next door neighbor had this drum set, and I thought it was really cool. And I'd never played music before. I just thought it was cool, and I wanted it. And I thought, you know what? I know he wants this jacket, and I'll see what he wants to trade. And the next thing you know, I had a drum set in my garage. And the only thing that I could play that to me sounded any good was like the very start of the ZZ Top song from Eliminator. I think it was Sharp Dressed Man or one of those songs. A little snare roll at the beginning, but that was it. I could not play. I couldn't figure it out. I had no help. I had no. I mean, I never had any background in music, and I was probably like 13 or 14, somewhere around there. And then I said, you know what? This is just not. This isn't happening. I'm going to try guitar. And so I sold that drum set to a kid, and with the money I got from that, I bought my first acoustic, and I practiced on it just out of a book that somebody had given me. It was just this one scale. And I practiced for like 2 weeks, and my fingers were getting all, you know, nasty, hard and peely and scaly. And I was at my locker, and I opened up my locker, and the girl next to me saw my fingers, and she said, "Oh my gosh, what happened to your hand?" And I said, "Oh, that's from playing guitar." And she said, "Oh, you play guitar?" And I was like, yeah. And it was like, that was the second that I said, you know what? I'm going to stick with this. So that was in the beginning. That was like the very beginning. I'm not going to lie. I thought it would be cool to impress the ladies. And you know, but somewhere along the lines after that, I really just fell in love with it. And it just became a part of me. And I've been doing that ever since.
Yeah, and you even teach guitar now, don't you?
I do. I teach guitar and a bunch of other instruments, and I've been doing that for a long time. And I just kind of fell into that as well. After I got out of college, you know, I knew I wanted to just continue in music, and I just got a job teaching a few students at this place called Nadine's Music Manor, greatest music store in Plano, Texas, and it was just the perfect job for a musician. You know, I didn't have to get up early, and I could get off, and I could still make it to my gigs at night. And I'm sitting there learning music all day and thinking about music all day and practicing. It was and is a great job for me, and I still do it to this day. I have my own place now, so now I have the Kelly Vaughn Music Studio, and we also do recording here. I of course record all my stuff here. But I also do other bands, you know, if they want to come in, I'll do their sessions too.
That's cool.
Yeah, you got some great music.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, I was reading here that you bashed that old Ludwig snare to death. That's the way I was when I got my first drum set. Now, as you can see behind me, I've got a 21-piece Pearl, but I hardly ever had time to play it anymore. It was
that is the one thing that I don't have here at my studio is a big set of drums because it would take up place. And I had a set of drums at my house, and my wife was just, I think she just wasn't as keen on the decorations of the house being all my equipment. So I eventually took all my equipment and put them into this studio. And the only thing I have in my house is just my really good guitars. I don't have a set of drums here, so we also practice here with the band. He brings just like an electronic set to practice on, and we do that here. And it's just the kind of way we roll here.
Yeah, so you've been playing for a number of years now. I see that in one of your things you were saying that that you like James Taylor was one of your favorites. Oh man, I saw him in Colorado when he first got started. Of course, I was a lot younger then, and so was he. But what?
I was, when I was growing up in high school, it was hair metal. That was the thing. And if you liked anything besides that, you sure didn't want to let anybody know that you loved Air Supply or Loverboy. And I just kept my mouth shut about that. But I got into my stepdad's record collection, and he had Boston's first album, he had James Taylor's first album, he had every Billy Joel, and I really love that singer-songwriter vibe, and James Taylor has just always been one of my favorites, and I have, I play a couple of his songs in my solo show, and it never gets old. I mean, every time I do it, it's a reaction. And so there was that side of me that I was always kind of fostering along, and at the same time I had big hair and I was playing 80s metal. But obviously I'm not doing that now.
Yeah, I was playing hair bands in the 80s, so that was 80s metal back then. Not now. My hair went from long and blonde to long and short and loose. Everybody else's turned. Mine turned gray and then started turning loose a few years ago. Yeah. So you did some.
You can't stop it.
You took a music theory. I was reading in your bios. You said that you couldn't play a lick, and then you were trying, and you were just about to give up on it, I guess. And then you took a music theory class in high school. And that changed everything for you.
I could play guitar, and I could, somebody could show me a song and I could do it. But since I never had any music, I was never in band. I just, I didn't understand how it actually worked. And I had gone to like 5 different guitar teachers, and they were all very great players. I mean, they were all great players. But I don't think I was explaining myself very well to them what I really wanted to learn. What I really wanted to ask them is, how do I understand this so that I can do this myself? And I guess I couldn't get that across to them, or they didn't understand that from me. And it was, I think it was my senior year in high school. I needed one more elective. I already had all my credits to graduate. Really, I just needed to pick an elective. And I just saw that, and I thought, that could be interesting. And wouldn't you know it, the last class that I picked in my last year of school, high school, would be the one that would have the most impact on my life. And it was just kind of a fluke thing that I even picked that. And what I learned in there, I applied that to guitar, and within like a year, I had caught up to all the other guys that had been playing way before me, and then gone past them. And a funny story, these guys that were, they were better than me. They had been playing long. They came over to my house one day, and they wanted to get on my amps and play. And just basically, this one guy just wanted to show off and just like made me feel like an idiot. And he did, And then I took that class, and I understood it, and I started really practicing. And about a year later, he came back, and it was a much different game. And I remember him. I was way better than him at that point. And I remember him kind of looking over there and just kind of going, "Yeah, you've been practicing." And that was the last time I ever saw those punks. They never came over because they were just there to show me up. And I don't make a big deal about it now. I don't try to compare myself to other players or whatever. But I do tell my students that the right kind of teaching and the right kind of instruction could be the difference between you getting further than this other guy over here, you know, because it made a big difference for me.
Do you do any type of online lessons, like YouTube videos and stuff like that?
I have books that I've written, and I have a YouTube site where I have all the examples from the book, so that my students can use that in conjunction with the book. And I also do like Skype lessons with certain people that can't be in town, or, you know, I mean, I've had this one student in Tennessee for like 2 years, and somebody and then other people, they go on vacation, and I teach them. They'll be in Michigan or Montana, and they just log in, and we just do it just like normal. But yeah, I've been doing that.
Make sure you send us the link so our station manager can get it up and put it on the site and stuff for you.
I definitely will.
As we're getting ready to build your page here pretty soon.
Awesome.
A lot of, you know, unless the artists are making the top 10, or, you know, there's a lot of groups, and I've said this 100 times, I get tired of saying it, but the worst thing in the world for me to have to tell somebody is you suck. You know, go work at McDonald's, or, you know, find another line of work. And I hate being that way. Again, tonight you're not the case in that, or we wouldn't be having this conversation. You know,
I appreciate it. But I try my best, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure there's other guys that was trying to show you up, or you might run into them. You know, would you like to supersize that? They're probably not still musicians anymore. But after high school, you went on to college and stuff, and then you guys started a band there, and you guys were going to stay together. But then tell us about that.
Well, what happened was I was in a band, and we had an agent. We were on the radio. We were headlining the clubs here in Dallas, and we had started going to other cities like Houston, San Antonio. And I was only like 20 or 21, and it was really hitting. And I was like, you know, I didn't think, wow, this is so easy, but I thought, yeah, this is working just like I wanted it to. And then something happened that just kind of crashed the whole thing, and that was when Nirvana came. Because I was in, the kind of music that we played really wasn't hair metal, but we still looked hair metal, you know, and it was all about, you know, looking cool and jumping around and flinging the hair. And when that grunge thing hit, it just kind of like shook up the whole scene, and it just pretty much ended your band, basically, unless you somehow could adapt and be grunge and like, and so everybody I know, you know, at that time kind of tried to go that way. But what I realized right then was, I don't want to put my future in the hands of a bunch of other people that I don't know if I can trust. And when I saw the rug get pulled out from under me like that, I thought, you know, I better look for something else, you know, for my future that's more where I can rely upon myself. So I decided I'm going to go to college. And I told my parents, and they laughed. They thought I was joking. And so I cut all my hair off. You know, my hair was down to my waist. And I came home for Thanksgiving, and my hair was all cut, and my grandma was there, and they all just about fell over. And I said I wanted to go to college, and that got their attention, and they believed me, and I sold all my equipment except for one guitar and one amp. And I went down to college, and the first weekend I was there, I saw this little band playing at this little club, and they were terrible, and they were getting a huge reaction. And I was just like, you know what, I've got to put together a band. And within 2 weeks, I had a band there. And I did more playing and more writing and recording and everything during that 4 or 5 years at college than I had ever done before. And I was still getting my degree and everything, but in this back of my mind, I was telling myself, you know what, I'm not just going to be able to shake this. It's not just going to go away. This is who I am. This is what I want. And I just kept on doing it, and that band, you know, the band I was in, it did fall apart. And it was kind of at that point when I moved back to Dallas, I said, look, I've got my college degree. If I need to, you know, you always hear that fallback plan thing. If I need to fall back on that, I'll have a college degree. But I just kind of just dug in and said, you know what? I'm just going to do this somehow. So with the teaching, I got a job teaching, and I've just been playing my gigs, selling my books, selling my CDs, recording people, and that's just what I do every day. It's been working.
Yep.
You know, it's hard, but you can do it.
I'm gonna put on a little snippet of one of your songs. It's "Carry Me Home," and we'll listen to about 45 seconds of that, and then I'll let you explain this one because it's one of my other favorites that you have.
Awesome.
But I sure do try. Sometimes I'm right, and sometimes I'm wrong. Not a day of that'll help me along. You hear my cries when I sing this song. Lord, you're there to carry me home. I fall down.
Yeah,
Love
every time I hear that one, my foot's tapping. I can't quit it. You could put a 50-pound brick on my foot and I would still be tapping.
that song. It's a funny thing about that song. So like, the whole foundation of the song is me hitting, like banging on my acoustic, like I'm hitting on it and slapping on it, and that's where that beat comes from. So I had the first 4 chords of that, and I just had that opening riff and all the percussive slapping thing on my guitar, and I just knew I wanted to make that a song, and I had that. And then one day the idea for the song just kind of popped into my head, and it's kind of like, if you've ever heard that poem about the person is walking and there's 2 sets of footprints, and then they say, you know, but all of a sudden there was only 1 set of footprints, where did you go? And it says, you know, that's when I was carrying you. It's a famous, like, wall, you know, like.
Yeah, it's a picture. Yeah, it's a Christian thing with a picture of Christ's footsteps, and he was carrying them.
That kind of hit. That was kind of what I was thinking, and it just kind of fit, and it just kind of popped into my head, and it just came, and I just put it together. And the band, we never even played it. It wasn't going to be one of the songs. And then I had a thing coming up where I had to play all my original Christian music at a service one day, and I needed another song, and I thought, you know what, I think that would be really cool. And I showed it to the guys, and they loved it and played it, and I mean, it sounded great right away. And then, of course, I knew, yeah, we got to put that on the album. We got to put that on. And that's one of my favorite ones.
Yeah.
For sure. Oh, for sure.
Actually, I like all your songs. Now, which album is that one on?
That was on 10,000 Charms, which is the latest album.
Yeah, that's what I thought, because we had the album cover up there. But the 1,000 Times Before, You're No Good, Carry Me Home, For Better or Worse, Hold Me Close. I mean, all those are great songs. The one thing we do get is a lot of people asking if you have more music, and it's like, I don't know, I got to check with him. Unfortunately, you're so busy and I'm so busy, it's hard for us to connect sometimes. But, yeah, we have people asking if you have other music. Where can they get your music at?
Well, the short answer is everywhere. Of course, I'm on iTunes and Amazon and Spotify and all those kinds of services. If you just type in Kelly Vaughn, my picture will pop up, see it. But also, if you want to buy like an actual CD and you can get it signed or whatnot, we do that just from my website, kellyvaughn.net. So you can order it that way too. But yeah, we're on all the streaming services. And there's another album before this called My Strength that's similar. And then everything before that, so I probably have about 20 albums. And
Wow.
most of that was from a band that I was in called Kickstand before I did these last two. And I think there might be a couple of those.
Yeah, you're also giving away, what, 4 CDs?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We're going to give away some.
Yeah, make sure you sign them.
Oh, absolutely.
Because when you're walking a red carpet and you forget about us, at least we can go. He used to be on our show.
I'm not going to forget about you guys.
I've had that. We've had that happen to us quite a few times. We got a guy up in Nashville now that just shunned us. I mean, we were good enough for him when he first got started. Now he's like, "Well, you're going to have to talk to my manager." You know, I've been fishing with the guy and everything else, and he's like, won't even return a phone call now. And all I wanted him to do was talk to a younger artist. That's what I ask everybody. Because we don't charge anything to play anybody's music. You know, the only thing that I ask people to do is, you know, it's not give me $25,000 or give us $250,000 to put your music on the air. It's the only thing I ask people is that you pay it forward. You find somebody later on that you're going to help out. You know, find that one special person like you were talking about Boston and stuff. And I was reading in your bios about when you went to the Bon Jovi concert, and right then, you know, Jukebox Hero was one of my favorite songs, and I could see myself standing in concerts when I was little and then wanting to do that, you know, hoping, man, I wish they would ask me to come up and play the drums. And that's the only thing that we ask the artists to do, and you're already doing that, of course, I mean, by teaching music and stuff. But you got some great songs, man.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm excited about this latest album. And I always think the next one is the best. Of course, I think this is the best one I've ever done. But we're already working on the next one, and of course, I think that's probably going to be the best one. But I just don't see why you would want to do this if you just didn't think you could keep getting better and keep making better music and better albums. I don't understand why anybody would want to keep that. But I'm still plugging away, and I'm still getting a lot of mileage out of this album, and I'm still loving this album, and you know, hearing all the different stories of different people that connect to songs is amazing to me, and I mean, it fuels me to keep going, and beyond, and I'm, like I said, I'm already working on the next one. I can't wait for that one. It'll be similar, but you know, different.
Kelly, where did you come up with the idea for the name of the album, 10,000 Charms?
There's a song called Come Ye Sinners. And when I first met my wife, and we first, they started a contemporary service at our church, and we hadn't really been going at all. You know, I had just met her, and so we were engaged at that point. They asked us to come to it, and we did, and then they asked us a couple weeks later if we might want to get involved in the band, and we said yeah, and they said, well, send us something. So she said, you know, this will be a perfect song for us, let's record this song and we'll send it to them, and of course, so she and I sang it, I played guitar, and we made a video, we sent it in, they loved it, they immediately wanted us to be a band that week, you know, we did. And so that was kind of one of the first couple songs that we ever learned together. So it was meaningful to me from that. And there's a line in there where they talk about 10,000 charms. And there was a lady in the church that really loved that song. And she came up to me one day, and she was just talking about that song and that line. And it just stuck with me. And I thought, you know what? I really like that. I mean, 10,000 is a powerful number, and charms is a very positive sounding word. And I just like the sound of that, you know, and it just made sense to me, and I just knew I was going to name this 10,000 Charms. Like a couple of years ago, before we even had it recorded, I already knew that's what it was going to be, and that's where I got the idea.
I like that. I like that. It's an interesting name. I like that's a good story. Thank you.
Because we have a few listeners out in Dallas and then out in that area, all the way out in Las Cruces and all over the place. I mean, all over the world, actually. This radio station keeps growing and growing and growing. We can't keep up with it. But where are you going to be playing at? Do you play in a regular house band, or what church can they see you playing at regularly? Or
well, okay, so every Sunday I'm at Canyon Creek Presbyterian Church in Richardson, Texas, right here near Plano and right near Dallas. I'm there every Sunday at 9 a.m. So I get up early. and my wife does that with me as well. I have a couple of regular gigs that I do around town. One of probably my favorite gig is at a place called the Landon Winery, and it's in McKinney. I play there like once a month, every fourth Saturday, and then that's just a solo thing I do by myself. And I also play, and they also have another location, Wiley, Texas, and I play that one on the second Saturday. And then the rest of the stuff is just like, it's sporadic. I mean, we play all kinds of clubs, festivals, private parties, you name it, we've probably done it. And I just put all the dates on the calendar on the website at kellyvaughn.net, and I have to check it myself because I can't sometimes remember it. The last 2 years, I've hit it really hard, and I've been playing a ton, and I can hardly keep up with it. And now, one thing I will say is we do play pretty much just right here in Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington. We could go further out, but the cost and all that of doing it, and me having to pay the band and pay all this other stuff, it's just not really good for me right now while I'm just my fan base. So we just stick pretty close to home. But I play a lot. So if you are here in Dallas and you want to come, I'm probably playing some that week. Sometimes 2, 3, 4 times.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you for coming on tonight, and for letting us share your music with the world. I mean, you're a great artist, singer, songwriter. I'm sure your wife keeps you in line.
She tries.
And but thank you very much for coming on. We're gonna put your CDs up, and they'll go for a week. People have to go on there, and then we'll do the drawing, and we'll give one away over the next month. So for you guys that want to win one of his CDs, they will be autographed, he said. So when he gets up there one day, they'll be worth $1 million. So, but thank you very much for coming on, Kelly. We really appreciate it. You have a great evening. I look forward to
It was
seeing
good
you.
talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. We'll see you soon.
Okay,
Bye.
ladies and gentlemen, that was Kelly Vaughn. His album out, 10,000 Charms. And at the end of the show, we'll be closing out the show with his song, For Better or Worse. Okay, now it's time to pay some bills. We got some sponsors coming up. I see you. There you are.
Yep, I'm here.
Let's see. Who do we want to put up first? I'll let you do the T-Mobile first.
Oh, wait. Wasn't ready.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you did. Give me just a second here.
Do you want me to start? I know they have their
No.
50% off or on their family lines for military veterans and stuff.
And that's for the veterans and their families both. And now this is the T-Mobile in Daytona Beach, and that is the only location. And they're at 2400 West International Speedway Boulevard at the corner of West International Speedway and North Williamson. This week, they still have their special on the LG G7 Thin Q. You'll get $750 off a second one. If you buy one Apple Watch, you will get the second one at $215 off with an activation, and you can add a line on a paid Digits Apple Watch plan. Also, you can get one Samsung at $360, and off another business. Customers can also get a deal on 2 Galaxy S9, S9 Plus, or S8 Active or Notepad. You can get a free prepaid A30. Prepaid customers can also get a free tablet with $100 in services. Be sure to call the store to get more details. And all of these specials are subject to activation fees and sales tax. Again, that is the T-Mobile in Daytona Beach only. Give them a call.
Okay. We have Animal Health Center. And Dr. Nagy and Dr. Smith over there. It is a great place to take your animals to. They care about them. My dog just recently had surgery. She had a 5-pound pus bag in her. I forget the name of it. I don't even care what the name of it was. They saved her life. They shut down.
Biometer.
Yeah, that's the thing. I call it a pus bag. But anyways, they had to cut it out of her. They got her right in for surgery. They didn't wait. Tell me to come back the next day. She said, nope, your dog's not going to make it. We need to do surgery now. So they shut down their office and cut her open, took the pus bag out, and she's at home recovering right now. Actually, she's recovering too good. She's trying to get out and run like she's going to be 14 this year, and she still thinks she's 5 weeks old. But they do digital x-rays. They do spay and neutering, dental cleaning, small animal orthopedics, and they also board the animals too. You guys need some place to keep them while you're gone on vacation or for a couple days or just out running around town. I know my dog, if I leave her home, which I take her everywhere, but if I do have to leave her home, she has anxiety separation disorder. She will chew the walls off.
Yeah, poor baby.
Yeah, but I love the cracker. Everybody loves the cracker. All right, let's pull the next one up. Yeah, let's go to Benio. You know, I called him up today and told him about this woman that needed help. And he said, give her my number, have her call me. So I'll take, I'll work something out with her. This guy is a great guy. Him and his wife run the company, and he's out. I mean, he does pump repairs, a well restoration, a pump replacement, a well abandonment. He'll even drill a new well. But I tell you what, he came out. It wasn't but a few hours later, and I had water back on the horses and on the house. And it tasted a heck of a lot better. I mean, I don't know if he made the well deeper or what he did to it, but before it smelled like sulfur, it doesn't smell like that anymore. It smelled like a rotten egg in my house. It wasn't enough for breeze around to keep the smell out. But whatever he did, and I tell you what, I have more pressure now. Yeah, before it was just barely dripping out. Now it'll tear the skin off your hand. But you guys give him a call. It's 386-334-1593. Let's put Mr. Greg up there. Greg Williams was on last night. His battery died on his laptop. So we're going to have him back on Tuesday night. Greg's an attorney up in Jacksonville. He does everything but murder cases. Won't touch a murder case. So if you guys need something done, he does come down into Putnam County, into Palaca. He does go over in Ocala. But if you run into a pinch and you don't have enough money, he will work with you. And he'll make sure that if you haven't done anything wrong or if it's something minor, he believes in the Constitution, doesn't like to see people's rights violated, and he will help you out. Auto accidents, whatever it is, he'll do it. He specializes in criminal law, though. But you can get a hold of Greg. His number's up there. I can't read it. But just go back and look at the thing. You'll see him. He'll be on Tuesday night, by the way. We're going to have him back since his computer died. Okay, the guy I want to thank today, I got a call. We got the picture up of Scott up at Walmart. We got his picture. Oh yeah, there it is. Second one right there. I got a call from one of the volunteer fire stations over there. And when I was out on a couple of the calls, I see these guys that when they're out there, they're in their tennis shoes. They're only getting $4 a call, most of them. And they're doing it because they love the community. At $4 a call, you have to love the community. You have to love helping people because nobody's going to get rich off of that. And I had somebody say today, well, they might do 2 or 3 calls a day. Yeah, $20? Come on, give me a break. That was another place that I had called to see about getting donations or whatever to help them out to get some tactical boots. And then I went over to Walmart and talked to Scott. He's the manager over there. What a great guy. You know what he did, Tammy? They needed 6 pairs of boots. And he went ahead. Boom. They got them. So you guys, when you're in Walmart.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Scott's a hell of a guy. Plus, he's donated water. I know he's donated pallets when they need them and stuff like that. But a hell of a nice guy. I mean, you guys want to go in there and say hi to him. He's not going to bite your head off. He's a store manager. You don't have to be afraid of him. But just go up and thank him for, taking care of the firefighters and stuff. the volunteers and stuff. Oh, what a great guy. I mean, for him
That's
to do that
awesome.
on the spot too, you know, we didn't have to wait 3 or 4 weeks to go through corporate or anything like that where you have to fill out the forms. I mean, it was instant. He's like, yeah, what can I do to help you out? Let's go back here and see what we got. And then they didn't have 3 of the sizes, so he goes, I'll have them ordered. He took his scanner. He goes, I'll have them in for you. And I actually I was going to go deliver them over there to him, but they got called out on a call, and I had to get over here to the show, so I'm meeting up with them in the morning. I'm going to take a picture and put it up of Scott and of the firefighters getting their new shoes.
Cool.
So I got to tell you about this one. My friend and your friend, the beautiful and lovely Lee Dandridge. I went to CVS today, and I actually had to crawl on the floor so she wouldn't catch me, and I kept going, psst, psst. She goes, who keeps psting me? And I just had the phone sticking up over top of the counter, and she looked right up into it. I gotcha. I took off running out of the store. She's like, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna go kick the door in. I got a new chainsaw. Quit doing that. That's our friend Lee. I love her to death.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, a couple of weeks ago, we'll get to the other ads by the end of the show, but a few weeks ago we had a young man on here. His name is Jim. And Jim's story was he got his foot degloved in a lawnmower accident and spent months in the hospital. When he got out, he found that his house had been evicted, or his house had been foreclosed on, so they evicted him. Then he wound up living in and I'm just going to give you guys the Reader's Digest version here. He wound up being evicted and was basically living in a house that had fallen flat. And we're going to get on to that little part right there again, but he was living on a diet. I mean, he didn't have any food, no money, no nothing. Gets out of the hospital, half his calf is cut off, his leg, the bottom of his foot is cut off. And I didn't put the pictures up tonight. We'll put them up because we're probably not going to have enough time tonight to get his full story, so we're going to have him back on again. But he was living on a diet of rats and bugs and basically anything he could find to eat. And then there's a few other things that we're going to get into that happened to him. But we've got him in the studio tonight. Jim, you want to say hi to everybody?
Yes, hi. How are you doing?
This is Jim, or AKA SJ.
Thank you, Travis, for having me on tonight.
Oh, you're welcome. You better say thank you to Tammy, too. She'll come and slap you upside of your head.
Thank you, Miss Tammy.
You're welcome, Jim. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
So last time we left off at where was Thanksgiving, and I went out there to see you, and you weren't under the house. I'd taken you a tent and was bringing some food out on Thanksgiving, and it had started raining, and we had a bad storm, and the thing collapsed. And I thought you were under it, and you came up walking up behind me.
Yes,
So,
sir.
so you want to pick it up from there?
Well, I caught you at a rare moment. I thought I was dead. You walked up in there, and the whole thing had collapsed down on me. And while I made it out, I had to wait till morning time when it was daylight, and because I was kind of trapped in there. Well, not kind of. I was trapped in there until the storm subsided and I could see to get out because everything collapsed around me.
Yeah, so then you had to crawl out through a little hole in the roof. Now, you guys got a picture of this. This is a house. All it is the roof, and it's just a pitch of the roof like this.
The
And
attic.
nothing else under it, just the end of the house where the gable would be. Everything else was collapsed. And he had some bricks, some little red pavers from a fireplace that he had stacked up. And in case the thing caved in, he could crawl out through that. And that's actually how you made it out of the house.
Yeah, I had to crawl in there when it was coming down from the storm, and that way I didn't get squished.
I mean, so what's it like when you're... I've been homeless once in my life, too, but I just want you to tell these people what it's like when you're sitting there and you have no food and there's nothing to eat. I mean, what do you do?
Well, I could tell you about a humbling moment I had. It's kind of life-changing for me. I was sitting there, and it was storming in a different night, and I didn't have anything to eat, and I was wet and I was cold, and I didn't have anything to sleep on, and I didn't have any clean clothes. I didn't really have much for clothes, period. But I was sitting there and I was looking at this fireplace thing that I had made, and I was, keeping warm with that. And all of a sudden, I forgot where I was. And I was looking like I was sitting in my living room of the house I had just lost. And I was looking at this fireplace, and I was sitting there in my living room. And I was watching the TV and the little table I had, and I was looking around, and something seemed a little bit off. And I started looking, and everything just started to like melt down, and I wasn't on anything. I was just sitting there, and I realized that I was no longer in my house. I was sitting in this abandoned house, and this house had become my new home. And that was a lot to take in, and that was a moment that I will never forget, because I realized that everything had changed, and I was there, and my new home was this.
Yeah, so how long had it been before you had any food? Do you think you were going delirious from not eating, or?
But that could have been it too, I had been a little while, several days of not eating anything, really. As I said, it had been storming before Thanksgiving. Enjoyed that Thanksgiving breakfast dinner when you came over. I was very grateful for that.
Yeah, it was, even though, somebody said, well, didn't it make you feel good that you took him over some food and bags? No, it didn't really, because, I knew when I left that was all he had to eat, so I kept taking him stuff back periodically.
I was very grateful to get some of the clothes that I got, and the water. Geez, a bottle of water was really nice to have too, because even though it rains, water doesn't stay good for very long outside.
Yeah, I remember seeing that cup you were drinking out, or that bowl you had on the ground out there, where you were like lapping it up like a freaking dog, and it had green, like that slime crap in it, and mosquitoes, and you were just like, oh, well, they've got protein in them as you're kicking them out. I'm like, that's just freaking nasty. Have you guys never seen anybody eat a rat? It's one of the grossest things you'll ever see in your life. Smell pretty good, but
once the hair's gone,
it's like it's crispy.
Yeah, burn it to a crisp and it doesn't taste too bad.
Yeah, and that's I'm not making fun of you or anything, because it was just one of the nastiest things. And I've known you now for a few years, and that's just one of the nastiest things I've ever seen. Now, I'm going to back up a little bit here. Before you got you got another place to live, correct? And then you had a girl come in that you were trying to be nice, and you let them move into your house, and then they came in and started robbing you blind.
Yes.
Tell me about what happened there.
Well,
I already know, but tell the listeners.
Well, I've had a couple injuries this past year, and
No, I'm talking about when the girl come in and they were stealing your food. The one that how do I put it, crack whore, where she came in with her boyfriend that had the ankle bracelet on. Because there's been several of these times. I mean, your heart's definitely bigger than your brain on some of this stuff.
Well, that's that's where I was going with. I needed help, and I asked for some help, and I brought these people in thinking I was going to help them, and they were going to help me, and they robbed me blind. Ultimately I lost my home.
Well, I know that the cops have been called and they've been trespassed, but then they came back and they started taking your food out, and then they threw you into the wall. I have the pictures and everything of where your head got bashed into the wall, and you picked up a vacuum cleaner hose, and you wasn't going to get your butt kicked, and you went to wailing on. I mean, this girl, I know who she is.
I know what you're talking about now. Yes, I've had a lot of very not nice people try to take advantage of me over the years. This woman here broke into my home after she was removed from my home by the police, and came and was robbing me, and then they decided to attack me, and I defended myself, and I got in trouble for that. They were stealing my food. just they were trying to rob me.
So you're in your house. They come in and they're stealing your food, and you go to protect yourself and try to keep them from it. They throw you into a wall.
Yes.
Now I know that the boyfriend had an ankle bracelet on.
Yes.
It was like 5 miles. I mean, I've read the police reports, and he was like 5 miles from his house.
Mm-hmm.
So you pick up a vacuum cleaner hose. I mean, it wasn't the whole vacuum cleaner.
Actually, I didn't pick up anything. That's what they're saying. Actually, they said I used a machete. That's what they said I used, and I never had any weapon.
There was not even a machete in the house, was there?
No, I had no weapons in the house.
But yet they hauled you off to jail. Was it that night, or did they come back later and get you?
That night, they came back. Well, they called the police and said I attacked them with a machete, and they arrested me, gave me charges of battery on them, because they broke into my house and attacked me and robbed me.
Yeah. Now I know I had gone to the public defender's office, and I had tried to give a guy, and I wasn't going to say his name, but I'm going to go ahead and say it now because I'm still to this day pissed off at this public defender. His name is Derek Smith. Yes, Derek Smith. At the Putnam County Courthouse. He's a public pretender. He can get pissed off at me for all he wants for saying this, but yes, I'm putting his name out there. It's Derek Smith. I went over to show him evidence of where Jim had not, there was no machete. Police reports didn't match up with what they were saying, with what the state attorney's office and everything was saying. And I love the state attorney's office to death there. I mean, I think we have, the best law enforcement in the world here. And I always support our sheriff's department. Me and Tammy support the local police, the firefighters, and everything else. So this is not a bash on them. This is just one guy in particular. And I went there with evidence, pictures, photos, and everything. And he told me point blank to my face, I do not talk to reporters. Period. And I said, well, I have evidence. I'm here as not as a reporter or a writer. I'm here as his friend. Here's the evidence that I have. He goes, I don't give a damn. And he walked away.
Mm-mm.
And there was another thing where a guy had said you were shooting a BB gun at him. He said you were standing up on a fence wielding a knife. Well, in the state of Florida, if you pull out a knife, that's worse than pulling out a gun on somebody. And even though you were on your own property, now let me stress, this was not this administration, this sheriff's office. This did not have anything to do with Gator Deloach. Okay, I want to make that very clear. This has been a few years ago. But the ones that came out, no evidence against him. And 3 months later, was it 3 months?
57 days later.
57 days later, they come and kick your door in and take you to jail. And because of this other stuff, you wound up having 2 charges filed against you at the same time.
Yes, sir.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't want to say anything that's misleading or is not true. So if it's not
accurate.
Dead on spot, I need you to correct me. Because
all
I've read the police reports. So then from there, you go, this is when I started getting involved with you. And then that's when you went to the woods, correct?
Yes, they had lost the house, and they
you lost your house.
they trespassed me from my own house, so I had to move off my own property.
Yeah, then you didn't pay the bill for 8 months, so they had to evict you.
Yeah, foreclosure.
I mean, and I called the bank and explained to them what was going on. And at that time, they didn't care. It was like, nope, it's about numbers. He hasn't paid this. I'm like, can you give him a chance to get an account going or something? We can get people to donate. Nope, he's evicted now. There's no going back on it. It's the most ruthless bank I've ever seen talk to in my life. I want to say their name, but I'm not going to.
I just went to that bank and tried to open an account, and they held a $40 charge over my head that they will not open my account because I have to pay that charge.
There wasn't ViaStar.
No, sir.
No, that's where I told you to go, to ViaStar.
Yes, I've got an account there now.
Yeah, ViaStar is a great bank. Yeah, I'm giving you guys a free pop on this. ViaStar is a great bank. That's where I've had my banking account now for a number of years. So you get kicked out. Now you're living in the woods. Now you've got court dates that are backing up. And I remember you were down in Georgetown, and then all of a sudden you got the flu, pretty much from sleeping out in the cold and stuff.
I'd only been in that that little travel trailer for 9 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, 9 days I think total.
And at this point, I go in, I get him some Sudafed and some, what was it, NyQuil? NyQuil and stuff like that. Now, I know because I'm around him all the time, he hasn't done any meth. He goes to the probation department. The probation department pulls a urine test on him, and it comes back that you have methamphetamine in your body. Correct?
Not methamphetamine, just an amphetamine.
Yeah, an amphetamine, not methamphetamine, my bad. Okay, so it comes back to you have an amphetamine.
Correct.
So when you go to court, or when they send their test off, which later on I did find out that the center that the probation department was sending the stuff to was not even accredited. And when I went in there and talked to the lady, she told me that yes, it can show a false positive, or a false positive, I'm sorry. So then all of a sudden, they throw your butt in jail because of the other 2 charges, and that being brought up, they gave you how long in prison?
I wound up doing I did a 3-year sentence.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Can't Sudafed is a constituent of, from what I understand, I mean, this is why you have to sign for it over the counter. Isn't it a constituent of amphetamine, methamphetamine?
It's an ephedra root is the thing that they look for. But
if you had been taking Sudafed, wouldn't that have caused the drug test to be positive?
Correct.
I'm just asking. I'm trying to understand.
Correct.
Yeah, well, that's
Okay.
that's what the lady at the place where they sent do the drug testing had told me.
Mm-hmm.
It'll
That's,
show-
that's why I was asking, because I wasn't sure, how that worked as far as if you had been taking the drug as far as over the counter, if how it would trigger a drug test. I don't know how that works, so I was
It
just
registers
asking.
the same thing.
Yeah, it shows
Okay.
a false positive. Even the lady told me that when we went to court, they brought in some other highfalutin witness that said no, it doesn't. When you can go on the internet all day, and I called up National Laboratories and talked to them about it, and they said yes, but still in the court system here, they went ahead and said no, it didn't. The judge that did it, I don't believe, is no longer on the bench here. Anyways, I'm not going to mention his name. He's not worth mentioning. He's in a different county now, probably screwing a ton of other people. They went through and weeded out the bad judges from what I've seen in this county. But like Judge DuPont, bye-bye, sucker. You're gone. You shouldn't have violated people's constitutional rights. But anyways, they stick you in prison for 3 years.
Well, they violated my probation based on the fact that I was arrested on a false positive. So they gave me a urine test, came back. The judge says, well, we have to get the lab test back, so arrest him on a violation of probation until the tests come back. They show that I didn't have it in my system, that it was a false positive, proved it in court, but violated and gave me 9 months based on the fact that I was arrested because I was on probation.
Yeah, now I called. We don't have a state attorney in our county. Our state attorney is over several different counties. And I called him up. Wouldn't give me the time of day. Now, these guys are sworn to uphold and protect the law and not to prosecute anybody illegally. And I wanted to talk to him about Jim's case. Wouldn't have nothing to do with it. Derek Smith, I tried taking him evidence. Didn't want anything to do with it. You hear these stories of people that are crapped on, and you got all these different lives matters and stuff. But you poor bastard, you're out there living on rats and stuff, and then they're going to throw your ass in prison for crimes you didn't even commit.
Both, yes.
Why there hasn't been an attorney from the ACLU or something step up and just sue the hell out of people? And that's why we're doing this tonight. And it's not to get lawsuits, but it's to get his story out on how you can get into the system, and you can wind up homeless. I mean, one day he's getting ready to go out on a date with a girl. He's going to get off. He's going to go mow his yards. He had a mowing business, living in a house, gets off a lawnmower. gets his foot degloved, loses half his calf, 8 months in a facility, loses his house, then he's homeless. And there isn't, and I've said it 100 times, there isn't one of us right now, whether you're listening to the show or any of us in the studio here or over in the Tampa studio, that couldn't be homeless. It's like that.
It could happen to you.
Yep.
It only takes one thing.
And once you're in the system, if you know, and I understand the state attorney's office, they have some 2,000 cases apiece from what I've studied on. But when a state attorney or a deputy state attorney or an assistant state attorney or any attorney refuses to take evidence to exonerate a person, I ain't got the time of day for them. Derek Smith, if you're listening to this, you're wrong. You need to clean up your act. You know, karma's a bitch. And for you to do that to somebody and refuse to take it because you don't like talking to reporters. You don't like talking to people that write stuff. Asshole, why don't you take people where they've got evidence and do it? And nothing has ever pissed me off so bad. I got to calm down. I'm going to wind up taking some freaking nitro pills here in a second. But for him to do that, for him to do that is wrong. And I don't know how in the hell he even sleeps at night because he is the most arrogant prick I think I've ever met. And yes, Derek Smith, I called you an arrogant prick. I hope they kick your ass out of Putnam County.
When I was in the courtroom, they did not have one piece of paper for evidence. They had not one thing that they can say. They used extortion to get me. They used one case against another. Told me they'll keep me in jail and violate bond and revoke my bond from the one if I don't plead no contest and guilty to the other charge that I wasn't guilty of in the first place at all. So
It's ridiculous.
So they told you had to, your attorney, who was that at state, your public pretender then?
same one.
Said Derek Smith. So he basically said that you had to, you needed to take a charge. He don't think he told you had to, did he?
He says you either take a plead no contest or guilty to aggravated assault with deadly weapon, which I was not guilty of, and I had proof that I wasn't, and I've got new evidence too. But if I don't do that, then they're going to violate my bond and put me in jail until the trial is over, because I was taking it to trial, because there was no way that they could prove that I was guilty. They had not a single thing for evidence. So they knew this. They knew they had nothing on me. So they said, okay, well, you're on bond, so we're going to revoke your bond, put you in jail until its trial's over, which could last years, or take the aggravated assault with deadly weapon and withheld adjudication with 3 years probation and $1 million in fines or whatever it was, that, you know, a couple thousands of dollars in fines and drug testing and I don't know, whatever the stipulations are that they put on me, but it's either take that or violate your bond. If you take the if you take the charge and no contest, plead no contest or guilty, we're not going to violate your bond, and you'll be done with that. And then you go for the battery charge that I got from the people that broke into my house and was robbing me and then pushed me into the wall and called the police and said I attacked him with a machete. Let me just say, if I attack somebody with a machete, they're not calling the police anytime soon. So,
No, but you're a little guy. I mean, you're
Yeah.
5'1", right?
and a half.
And a half.
And a half.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I have to throw the half in there.
You betcha.
That's right.
But the girl that attacked you was like 5'10". Her boyfriend was like
300 and something pounds.
300 and something pounds. You weigh how much?
Me? Oh, what was it? 126 today.
Would you have 2 bricks in your pocket?
No, just a heavy cell phone. And mom's purse.
And your mom's purse?
Yeah.
Were you going the other way?
No, she was trying to have a seat.
Okay. So, but I would like to give this invitation to Derek Smith to come on our radio station and explain himself. I mean, if you have the intestinal fortitude, or I'm not politically correct, if you have the balls enough, I'd like for you to really come on here. But that's right, he doesn't talk to. Well, I'm not a.
He doesn't.
I'm not
He
a
won't
writer
do
or a
it.
reporter tonight.
I want to see this.
You know, a radio guy. But I'd really like to get him on the air with him and explain how he could just let him go through that process. I mean, it's like, you know, I don't give a damn. You know, I don't know what his reason is. I'm not going to even try to get into what his reasonings for not taking the evidence are. I mean, I really don't care. And you guys listening to the show tonight, this is not something that I didn't see happen or didn't try to get involved with. It's not just something he's told me. I've got a stack this thick of his paperwork. Now, let me get into something. I'm going to say something here, and I don't want it to piss you off. But when you lost all the blood at your height and stuff, I've talked to the doctors, your doctors, you gave me permission to, and stuff. And I talked to a couple of the doctors, and they said that at your size, you have about 6 units of blood in you. They estimated that you lost 5.99 units. And they said that it might have caused a little bit of brain damage. Now, I'm not going to ask you if it did or not, but did they take that into consideration at trial? Or
No,
when you went into the
sir.
courtrooms?
No,
Did you say
sir.
anything to them about it, or did they know about it?
They knew all about it, and I did speak up for myself to the judge. I told him I was not guilty. I told the judge that I was not guilty. I told the whole courtroom I spoke to it, the transcripts were mysteriously gone. Nobody can ever find the transcripts to my case.
No, I did find the transcripts.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did.
Oh, I'd be very curious to...
That's why I asked you when they took you to the side and said, you know, why that whole deal went bad there. Because you said you weren't guilty.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're offering you, well, either you're going to say you're guilty and you're going to plead to a lesser charge, and then we'll move on from there and you'll get probation and stuff. You should have never had any probation or anything. And they should have taken into consideration that when you lost so much blood and you died when they bought you back, that there was some damage done. So
Yeah.
not just physically, but mentally as well. And you're, as what you told me tonight, you're going to start seeing a shrink, you know, or a psychiatrist. You know,
Yeah,
like I said, I'm not
psychiatrist.
politically correct, so shrink, you know.
I'm seeking help for some of my issues that are long pending from these accidents.
Yeah, so your
Good for you,
foot
Jim.
is pretty gnarly, and we don't have the pictures, do we? I know they were sent over to me, but I just didn't put them up.
I could put my foot up.
Yeah, you know what? You guys, if you don't want to see one of the nastiest things you've ever
Close
seen,
your eyes.
yeah, close your eyes. But why don't you put your foot up? I want you guys to see what it did to him, and how the court system. Now, when you're in prison, they didn't. We'll kill the screen for a second. You can go ahead and turn sideways there.
That camera's off. Position yourself more comfortably.
Go ahead and take. We got the camera off. Just
Oh, I
go ahead
can-
and turn sideways and get your foot off. Okay. Now on the bottom of his foot, if you look at it, I don't know if we can't really zoom it in, but you see how push the other side there, Jim.
This side?
The other side. You'll see that one side of his foot is a regular glove. That side there is covered with hair, and that's nasty. No, not that side. That side is a regular side of his foot. But you'll see that his toes and stuff are missing, or, you know, parts of them are gone. You'll see
That's all I can do for movement on my toes.
that section of foot up there. Tilt your foot back if you can. It's got,
Oh, my heel?
they took a
It's gone.
section of his thigh out
Oh, this.
and put that on the bottom of his foot. Now, hold your calf up there where you got your leg up there. I mean, unless it's too much pain for you, I don't want to.
No, it's just maneuvering. A little bit.
You can see where his calf, and then turn your foot a little bit, drop your foot down just a little bit there, so I can get you in frame. Let me move the camera here.
No, stop me from smoking.
Okay, I can move the camera. Just stay right there. You can see where his calf is missing in there, and you can see the side of his foot. Okay, you can put it in there. I don't want to be grossed out anymore.
Look at that.
Come on, dude. I got to eat later. Get the mic back in front of you. I can't hear you. I want these
Probably
people to be able to hear.
don't want to.
Now, I did that not to humiliate you.
Sorry.
Raise your mic up just a little bit. Pull it up toward you so I can. Those people can hear you.
Yes.
I did that not to humiliate you. You know, I've known you for a couple of years. I've never tried to humiliate you or make fun of you or anything. because you're one of my friends now, and you know I always pick on my friends. Ask Lee.
I love you, Travis. You've been a
But-
good friend of mine too.
I did that so people could see that's what he's had to deal with. Besides being homeless and everything else, he's having to walk around on this piece of foot. I call it a piece of foot because they took a section out of his thigh, and it's got hair growing on it, and the hairs get infected and everything. And he squeezes them, and it's one of the nastiest things you'll ever see is when he squeezes his bottom of his foot, and these hairs come curling out like a pig's tail, and it gets infected all the time. And I didn't want to show it. I could have zoomed the camera in, but I don't want to, you know, humiliate him or gross anybody out. But the section of foot there is on the glove of his foot right here. This part is a different type of skin than the part that has the thigh, and that's a soft tissue on his thigh. The other is called the glove, and it's a hard tissue. The part that they sewed on really needs to be redone. Now, I know it causes you a lot of pain because I went out to where you were staying at before you went to jail and stuff, and you were sitting there trying to figure out how to cut your leg off with a freaking circular saw. I don't know if you remember that or not.
Yes.
And
Why would you want to do that, Jim?
Well, because the pain I live with every day is more than most people could ever bear in reality, in truth. And I didn't want it anymore. And I couldn't get help for it because I had no money. I had no insurance. I had... the only way to have my leg to be fixed at all is to have another accident, because there was nothing I can do to go and have it fixed. So I put my trash bags around and had my tourniquets ready, and I would call 911 to have them come, and when they were going to come there, I was going to just cut my foot off, cut my leg off. I mean, I went through once, and that wasn't a controlled situation. I figured, well, I saved my life the first time, I'm going to do it a second time, and this way it's controlled, I'll get the help I need. And then Travis came in and stopped me from doing it. Like if he hadn't, it would have been gone. I don't know if I would have gotten in trouble for it legally. I don't know if but he convinced me not to do it. So I promised him I wouldn't. And to this day I haven't.
No, I don't think you've ever heard that part of his story, Tammy. But when
That's
I pulled
not
up there,
the
you know,
way
they,
to-
you know, they say God puts you in places that when you need to be there. When I pulled
Yeah.
up, I could hear the saw, and I go and I'm like, what the hell's going on? And the only reason he hadn't cut his foot out is he's trying to decide if you were going to get in trouble or not. He's more worried about getting in trouble than he was getting his foot fixed.
Probation and all that. Oh man, the system here. Oh.
And at the time, I talked to the people up at Boston Medical Center, and I even explained this to our state attorney, who was in, well, I tried to explain it to him down in Daytona, and called him up, got the rigmarole and the runaround. That's what I wanted to sit down with Derek Smith and explain to him and to the judge at that time that, you know, he has a chance to go get his leg fixed. He doesn't need to be in prison. Here's the evidence. Here's all this crap. He's getting ready to cut his frickin' foot off with a damn circular saw, which is probably the nastiest way you could ever cut one off, just so he can get help, so he doesn't have to be in pain anymore. Now, if he was on drugs, hell, if I was him, I'd be on every drug there was just to kill the pain. I know that crap's got to hurt. I mean, look at it. This doesn't look nasty. It looks painful. So, I mean, my question right now, and we're getting to where we're running out of time, but, I mean, dude, why in the hell haven't you killed yourself yet? I mean, the pain you're living in and the crap you've been through, I think I would have taken a freaking gun or the machete that you supposedly had and shoved it up my ass and cut myself in half. I mean,
Well, that's
why
not
didn't you?
Well, now there's an image.
Oh, don't worry.
That's never the answer to anything.
I haven't, because it'd be too selfish, and I can't do that to my mom. My mom has worked too goddamn hard for, excuse my language. My mother has worked very, very hard for me and loves me, and I cannot do that to her.
Good for you, Jim.
As I don't think I haven't thought about it, because there's been many days where I've been very depressed because of the situations, but I think there's been a couple times I've been real close, and I've had some very strong support through Travis and my mom and my stepdad, and he's my dad, and just a couple friends that are actually my friends too, bail me out of my emotional state when I've been really down. One, I do want to give a shout out to Stephanie Short, who was my nurse at the nursing home, who took me in after I got out of the nursing home, and she took me to the house and took care of me for a few weeks, and I will always love her. She's a very good woman. She was only 19 years old and had a very small income, only as a CNA, and took me from my home after they sent me home and took care of me, helped nurse me back when they gave me a crash course on crutches, 2 days learning on crutches, still having to wrap my own wounds and still leaking bleeding fluids months later, and she helped me, so I have to give that to Stephanie, and my mom, dad.
And for you guys that are wondering why his mom wasn't taking care of him, his mom was in a bad accident in a Volkswagen Bug, I believe. I mean, she's got scars up and down her legs, and he didn't want to take advantage of her, you know, at the time. We'll get into some of that later, but
Still now.
yeah, and she's still having problems now and surgeries. I know her very well. She's a wonderful lady.
23 major surgeries my mom has had.
Yeah, so
she understands, and she's been my life support and my back. She's
now when this is the part that really, and this should be for a Friday night show, or what's pissing me off show, but she had tried contacting Corinne Brown, who now is sitting in prison for embezzlement. It's a number of charges. Hell, she probably should have been charged with a ton more.
That could be a whole show just about her.
That could be a month of shows. We could go every day with shows. But she it was 6 years, 7 years. But how long was it? With Corinne Brown, that letters were sent to her for 4 years. Okay, I was wrong about the 7 years. I'm getting old. Brain
It
farts.
seems like it was that long.
Yeah, for 4 years, and I know there was, during that time, I was sending her letters and calling her and everything else, and she's told me, I don't have to do anything, and I'm just like, he's one of your constituents. He's one of your people you're supposed to be helping out. Well, I'm trying to get him help. Yet she never showed up at any of the Social Security meetings or anything. He didn't get any help or Medicaid until, was it about 2 months ago?
End of February.
Yeah, it was about, in end of February, he finally got Medicaid.
10 years next month.
So for 10 years, you've been getting crapped on by people like Corinne Brown, people like Derek Smith. A lot of it you bought on yourself, and that's what we're going to get into. Probably, we're going to have you back on. Can you come back another day? Maybe next week, next Wednesday. I've got to see what we've got on. I know we're booked up until August of next year. Is that right?
Yes, we can do next Wednesday.
We can do next Wednesday.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna see if we can pull the plug on somebody. One of our guests is supposed to be on next Wednesday, and get you back on. Is there any way we can get him back in here next Wednesday? No, she's checking the schedule right now to see if we can.
The 23rd, I think.
I know the 20th we got April Icer on here,
That's
and we're going to have a great show that night too, because we've got some of the mentally handicapped young people that are going to be here on the 20th.
27th.
Is it
That's
27th?
27th.
27th.
Yes.
That's right. They just got back from Seattle. They won.
We're at the Special Olympics.
Oh yeah, man, I love these kids, especially the one Peter Parker. That's a little Spider-Man dude. God, I love that kid. August 8th For you guys listening that want to catch the next part of the show, it's going to be on August 8th. I want to thank you for coming on tonight, Jim. We got to pay some bills.
Miss Tammy, thank you for having me here.
And we're going to get into...
You're very welcome. We're glad you were here.
We're going to... And you still are homeless, correct? I mean, you're living in a shelter?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll get into that, and we're going to put up a GoFundMe account for him that was set up for him. So if you guys want to donate to it, we'll be going into that here on August the 8th. We'll get it up probably before then and try to get it attached to this. What is it? Okay, there's a GoFundMe here. It's Mission to Help Tall Guy, a.k.a. Jim. That's what our studio manager just handed me. I don't know if you can see it, but we'll get it put up at the end of the show. You guys can catch it on IITW radio or on Facebook, either IITW Facebook or IITW radio. But we've only got 10 minutes. Jim, I want to thank you for coming on tonight, and we'll get the rest of your story. And I want to get into how you barbecue a freaking rat. You know.
No recipes, please.
No, I want the recipe for it. I mean, because you know,
hold the season. It actually a lot of heat.
Hold the season, a lot of heat. That thing was crunchy. He's offering me a bite. No, I didn't know. So, and we're not going to show your foot again, by the way. This.
Oh, come on.
That's just no.
I got plenty more to show.
No, I don't want to see anything else. We're still trying to get you help with Boston.
Well, fine.
You know, we're still working on trying to get you help with Boston Medical Center and stuff. That's why we got the GoFundMe account set up, so you can, hopefully, if anybody's listening from the airlines, he's going to need a plane ticket. He still has to get there if we can get the doctors talked into it. He's still going to need a plane ticket, and he's going to need travel expenses and stuff like that, besides a place to frickin' live.
Yes.
But thank you for coming on, Jim.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for listeners listening tonight. And, well, stay tuned.
Yep, we'll see you on the 8th. That was Jim, ladies and gentlemen, or a.k.a. SJ. There is a GoFundMe Mission to Help Tall Guy. I don't know why they got Tall Guy on there, because he's a short little turd at 5'1.5". I said the half that time.
Yeah, you can't forget the half for those of us who are vertically challenged.
I'm vertically challenged?
No, you're not.
Yeah, I am. My stomach keeps pulling me shorter and shorter to the ground the older I get.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I lost weight.
Some of us have been that way all our lives.
Actually, I lost weight. Anyways, it was a pretty good show. I mean, Kelly Vaughn. I mean, I love the guy's music. And
yeah, you know, he's got 40 students in his music school.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we were talking beforehand. 40 kids he teaches.
Holy crap. He's a good guy. I like it. Plus, I like his music. Yeah. I wasn't kidding about the toe tap and stuff. I mean, there's very few artists where my foot sits there and taps. I don't know if it's because I'm getting old, getting rigor mortis set in, but, you know, it goes with the music, so I'm happy as hell about that. Got to give a good shout out to Mama Baldwin. Hello, Mama. We also to Betty and to Aiden. And then to our friend Lee. We have coming up the Quench the Thirst. This is a program we do every year for the volunteer firefighters and for our firefighters and our first responders EMS. Guys, you can go over to go purchase the thing on water at Walmart. Go in there and see Scott. Scott also made me an offer today. I got to tell you about it later, about how he'll match the water drive and stuff. But Quench the Thirst. If you guys go over to Hitchcock's in East Palatka, I believe, and Interlochen, and I think Keystone Heights. But you go in and see in East Palatka, you can go in and see Joanne, Misty in Interlochen, or you can go over to Save a Lot and see Mary. Mary collects a ton of water.
That's the Save a Lot in Crescent City.
Yeah, go into the one in Palatka too and tell her husband, he works there, just tell him you want to get water and donate it to the firefighters. Hell, we'll go pick it up. There's been a few other grocery store chains that have not got involved with it. I'm not going to mention their names, but when you don't get involved with our volunteer firefighters and stuff, if I see your building burning and I'm driving by, I'm not calling them. That's one 911 call I'm not going to make. If you can't just, and it's not that these stores, you know, Mary and Joanne and Misty and them, they make their own flyers up. This is how much they love these volunteer firefighters. They make these things up. And then they get their cashiers to go out there and, you know, and push this stuff. Hey, would you guys like to donate a case of water? I mean, you're talking $3 or $4.
Well, didn't Mary do like little fire trucks or something last year, and everybody got to write their names on them, and they put them up all over the store?
Yeah, and then
kind of thing.
Yeah, and then we had Joanne and Misty and them that did their flyers up, and I mean these ladies are pushing these water drives, and because
they do a great job.
Basically, those 3 stores collected over 100,000 bottles of water, and it wasn't something their store chains gave away. Their corporates did let them do it, but we didn't want the stores to donate it.
Right.
Is the community get involved with it, and you go in and you buy a case of water, you're giving directly to those firefighters, and we have the pictures to prove it.
Exactly.
But I meet them over at the stores. All I do is take the pictures and then help them load them up, of course. But you got James out there at Station 20. I mean, what a kick butt guy this is. I mean, he works for the Department of Forestry. His wife is the chief, and I can't remember if it's Station 20 or not in Interlaken. Got him going to get in trouble. When I have one of them call me up and go, that wasn't the station. But, you know, you got Sam.
All their numbers.
You got Sam over at Station 6. You know, in East Palaca. You got all these different fire stations and these volunteer firefighters, and they're wonderful people. They need stuff like snacks, Slim Jims, granola bars, peanut butter, crackers, cheese crackers, Powerade, toilet paper, I mean, paper towels. You know, all that stuff that they're only getting $4 a call. You guys need to go help them out. So, and if you can't, get by Hitchcock's, any of the Hitchcock's or any of the Save-A-Lots, any other grocery store chains that listen. I hope you guys will step up to the plate. I know Walmart does. I mean, they donate tons of stuff. Home Depot is the same way. We have a couple of CVS's that do. They'll donate, you know, 20, 25 cases. Lowe's does the same thing. So there's a lot of different people and groups out there that do get involved. But the one thing is, if you, the citizens of this county, go in and just grab a case, pay for it, donate it. It's only a couple bucks. Because that might be the firefighter that's out there at you next time, and you want to help them out. Twisted Frozen Yogurt on 3705 Krill Avenue in Palaca, Florida. 386-385-3983. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Okay. They that's a nice place. Looks pretty cool inside too. If I was a kid in high school, I'd be hanging out there big time. I'd have all my buddies there. But they are a local owned and operated business, and we have a contest that's getting ready to close out for them. It's a $20 gift card.
Yes.
So you guys make sure you get that. We got about enough time to do our buddy from Eastside Collision and Towing, Bob's. I'll let Chris do that.
I have to maneuver stuff. Is it doing the thing?
Yes.
What? Hello? Okay, Lord, I don't have my headphones on. Eastside Collision and Towing, 24-hour towing available, 386-227-0003. They specialize in towing, collision work, custom painting, mechanical work. They are located at 286 Highway 17 Southeast Palaca, Florida, 32131. They give free estimates. Call Bob Baldwin, who is the owner.
Yeah, Bob's a great guy.
Yep.
And Bob does a lot to help out too. You know, we have one of the families, and we're going to try to get her in here that had Dominic, little kid that was involved in the wreck and stuff. And Bob graciously donated a Jeep We got some people that I think are supposed to. How about that? Do we do Satsuma Produce?
Nope, I can do that.
Okay, get Satsuma Produce up there, man, because they have got some good stuff in there. You guys need to go in and see them. We're running out of time. We got 1 minute to go. The Stand, Marianne, or Luann and Matt, you guys go by and see them in Satsuma. Go in there and hassle Andrea. Tell her that Tammy told you to hassle her. I love Andrea. They got great deals in there. All right, Tammy, where can they check us out? We got 36
You can
seconds.
find us on Facebook at the Putnam Way and at IITW Radio. Come visit us, like us, share us. Find us on YouTube and Twitter. See you guys. Thanks for being with us tonight. We love you.
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for letting us come into your homes. And we may piss you off sometimes. I'm not politically correct. We don't do it on purpose or really to get a rise out of you. We do it because we love our community. We're not making fun of anybody. If we do, it's in good humor. But we will see you back here Friday night with what's pissing me off. God willing, the creek don't rise and the government don't get me first. Love you guys.
Yes, you've got it rough, but please stop running. You know I've had enough, so thanks for nothing. And when you went away, you should have told me where you were going. You got a lot of love, but I still love you. I know that I was right the day I met you. I'm never gonna leave or forget you. You carry yourself like the princess in the castle. For better or worse, you're worth the hell.